Good evening, everybody. Welcome to PatFacts. Patrick here, Pat on your back, personal fitness. Where are your feet right now? Hopefully you know. Where are your feet? Where are you right now? Are you being where your feet are at? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Be where your feet are at. A great quote from one of my mentors, Todd Durkin. Basically talking about being in the moment. Be where your feet are at. Wherever you are right now, be there. Be present in that moment. And that's what we're going to touch on tonight and talk about. I know we've talked about it before, but again, for a lot of this, I like to go through it and give reminders every so often. We're approaching the halftime point of the year. We're approaching that midway. We're finishing month 6, heading into that second half of the year. Things are pretty much open and maybe as they were or close to as they were, or some sort of hybrid before the pandemic started. We're at work, we're maybe looking at summer vacations, we're doing different things. It's good to have these reminders sometime. And what really made me think of it and bring to the forefront this reminder of be where your feet are at and practice more presence is unfortunately a friend of mine who I met during the pandemic online in our Twitch community, is a fellow moderator for a chat I'm in, and DJ Starting From Scratch's channel, passed away over the weekend. He had a sudden heart attack and passed away. And he was a wonderful person. Again, we met online through Twitch, through the channel, and some other channels that we're on. We both became moderators of that channel and had group chats and things based on that. I'm very fortunate to meet him in person. We did have kind of a group dinner before Christmas, and we're able to meet up and meet him in person and spend some time with him, which is great. Hey, Bonnie, welcome in. And what I'm very thankful for, I didn't get to meet him, spend more time with him, unfortunately, in person. But what I'm thankful for is that night when we were there, once we all got there, we were where our feet were at. We were all very present in the moment. Once we all arrived and we knew everyone who was coming was there and safe, phones were away, and we just enjoyed each other's company for a couple hours while we had dinner and got to know each other. Most of them there actually knew each other from working together before the pandemic. And then a couple of us that had joined in after were there to meet some of them as well. So it was a great chance to get to know everyone and see each other in person and interact. And he was a very, very kind person online and in person, a great energy. He really embodied, whether he knew it or not, or it was his own thing, he really embodied what positivity pandemic means. He was a very positive, uplifting person, good spirits all the time. Again, whether it was our group chat as far as the moderators have, or in a stream chat like this, or in person. He was very uplifting, very giving. He actually made me a few graphics that I could try to use for some of my programs. So you'll be seeing those as my backgrounds or intros and things in the future. And just volunteered on his own to send them to me, and it was a great person. So I'm very thankful to that night that all of us, there were 6 of us there at the dinner. Unfortunately, those that couldn't make it were missed, but those of us that were there were very present in the moment. Phones were away. We were engaging with each other. We were getting to know each other. Some of us for the first time. Some of us were reacquainting since the pandemic had started and hadn't seen each other, even though they had worked together before. So it was really good to be at. So I thought he was very present and in the moment as well. So I thought what a great reminder and a great way to sort of pay tribute to him, to share the energy that he would, the positivity that he would, and to give us that reminder to be where our feet are at and be present in our moments, whether that's here watching a stream like this to maybe better yourself or learn new things, whether it's at a grocery store interacting with the cashiers through the checkout, whether it's at your workplace, whether it's with your family members or loved ones, whether it's your spouse on date night. If it's a friend you haven't seen for a while, try to put the devices away. I know it's really hard. They're really addictive. Literally, they're made to be that way. Hey, Ian, welcome in. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Try to put them away. Be present with the people you're with. Again, my mentor, Todd Durkin, says, be where your feet are at. Be in that moment. So when you're working on a project, you're there, you're working on the project, you're not thinking about other things. When you're spending time with friends, family, loved ones, strangers, even, and people you're interacting with, be in that moment. If you're here online with me or on a Twitch stream watching a DJ, you're in that moment, you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying the people around you. And I really feel like for me, that's what I'm trying to take as Jasper's message to us, is to be where our feet are at and be present. Because that's the one time I met him. Had I gone to some starting from scratch events in person, really before the pandemic, I've been a fan of Scratches forever and have wanted to go to his live events and never was able to. Jasper was a photographer for them for most events. I probably could have met him a few years ago if things had worked out, but I met him when I was supposed to, and I'm so glad that I did, and so glad that, again, just not only myself, but all of us there were so present that night and just enjoyed each other's company and got to make some memories and bonds that we'll have forever, and be able to keep his energy and his legacy going forward by, again, to continue to be where our feet are at. So that's my reminder for you for tonight. Find ways to practice that. Again, thinking of cell phones, your devices, turn them off, turn notifications off. A lot now, you can set up who can bypass the do not disturb. So maybe you're out and you have the kids are home with a sitter. You could make your own home number or the babysitter cell bypass do not disturb, so that if the phone rings, you know it's something that you need to answer. You don't have to check your phone the whole time. You won't be distracted by pings and alerts going off. So you can be present with your partner, with your friend, with a business partner, someone you're working with and interacting with. Whatever the case may be, we should be more present in what it is we're doing. We give that person that respect. We can really enjoy that moment as much as we can. And from a work perspective, we can get that much more completed so that we can move from task to task without maybe feeling guilt or stress or some anxiety about this other project. If I can be here with you now for 30 to 45 minutes and be present with you and give you my all, my attention, when I hit end broadcast at the end of tonight's stream, I don't usually have to go back and think, oh, I missed this, or I didn't say this, or did I do that thing I was supposed to? Or did I talk about the right thing? Because I've been here and been present. So then when I transition to my evening working on my business, I can be focused in that because PatFacts is done. I gave it my focus. I gave it my attention. My notifications are off. I hope they should be. I'm just here with you guys, so I'm giving you my attention. And again, because our devices are literally designed to give us that little dopamine hit and be addictive with our social media, and the fact that our alert numbers are red on our screen, that signifies urgency and that we have to check it. It makes our brain want to look for it. If we can kind of put that away for a little bit, again, we can really make the most of our interactions with people, and it gives ourselves a chance to come down a little bit. We talk a lot about how we're typically in that high level red alert zone, almost at the tipping point all the time, because we're constantly pulled in different directions. Again, we're getting alerts and notifications from social media and email and text and work apps or whatever the case is. So it's nice to, and we need to, unplug sometimes. And if we can kill two birds, one stone, and maybe give someone our undivided attention for 30 minutes to an hour, and put the device away and get away from all those alerts, that's going to help us settle the interaction and laughter and fun, and maybe remembering good times or creating new ones is going to help us come down a little bit. It's going to help our body and our minds kind of unwind and relax a little bit, and maybe regenerate a little bit and refresh, so that maybe when we go on to the next task, whatever that is, again, we've got that fresh perspective. We have new eyes, new energy that we can put towards that. Another way we can try to be more present with someone is maybe look at where you're meeting with them. If you get distracted by people and you're a people watcher, or the noise gets you going, maybe it's better to meet somewhere outside, or have an active meeting, or maybe you're out for a walk somewhere. Or maybe have a spot close by that's a little more quiet, maybe a smaller coffee shop, maybe kind of a mom and pop type of coffee shop, and not a Tim's type of thing. where there's going to be more people, more traffic, and more distractions, really. Maybe a good place you can support local, and again, create that good environment so you can be really present in the moment. Angela and Mello, good evening. Welcome in. So think again, devices off. Set up those do not disturb. I know with my my iPhone now, there's a few different do not disturb options. There's do not disturb, there's focus, there's sleep, there's work. You can program them in and create your own. So if you're out for a little bit, you can make a meeting or one-on-one, or you can label it a certain way and set the parameters to it. I want it to be 45 minutes long. And then again, you can set up who can bypass that do not disturb notification. So if there's someone you really need to hear from, or if someone has to get a hold of you because of an emergency, you can choose to let them bypass through. And then you can maybe let the person you're with know, if my phone rings, that's my babysitter, I have to answer it, sorry. Or that's my my boss, I'm waiting to hear on a proposal. So I'm here with you, but if the phone rings, sorry, I'm going to have to take it for a few moments because I'm waiting for some information. And talk with that person, let that person know. Another strategy that I am trying to get better at myself is letting the other people know that I'm not available. I've met with Jim for a beer. We're going to catch up and chat for a bit. So I'm going to put my phone away. Call if you need me. I won't hear the text. Something like that, where you send that out. Again, with that focus, do not disturb option with my phone now, it'll notify other people in my contacts if I have that shut off. A friend of mine has his notifications off quite a bit. It'll say, this person has notifications turned off. Do you want to send a message anyway? So yes, it's sent, but they don't get notified. They see it when they see it. So while the devices are addictive and can be troublesome or maybe problematic or a hindrance sometimes, or lead to some of this lack of presence that we have, if we take a moment to set it up, we can use that to our advantage. We can use it as an aid, which is what mobile phones and technology is supposed to be. It started anyway as being an aid, a way to do things easier. If you're in Ontario, you know that, or you may know, they've recently created a law that employers of over 25 people have to create off hours rules, off office hours rule. So you can't be expected to be on call 24/7 unless you're in a position where you're on call. So for a lot of us now, that work-life balance that we strive for, which again, I don't really subscribe to. Again, I call it more presence than work-life balance, meaning again, be where your feet are at, be in the moment. If you're at work, you're at work. If you're at home, you're at home. If you're with your kids, you're with your kids. If you're doing work on a project, that's where you are. That's going to shift. We don't always be balanced in our life. Sometimes we have to be at work more. Sometimes we'll get to be at home more. It's going to fluctuate depending on what you do and time of year and a lot of different factors. So again, that's where this idea of presence comes from. And I mentioned Todd Durkin, and another mentor of mine, Peter Twist, said the same thing: presence, be present. That's where I got the idea of not so much work-life balance, but focus on presence. And that'll create the balance idea that you're looking for. If you're where your feet are at, you'll get the most out of that interaction. So there's new strategies coming up and new ways that we can use our devices. And if I'm a worker of a company of 25 people who I have these off hours where I'm not expected to respond, but maybe my boss has children, and after 9 o'clock, it's a good time for them to catch up on a few things. So then we'll need to figure out a strategy for us. They'll say, I need to do some work at this time. Please turn off your notifications. I won't expect an answer from you, but please know I'm going to send you some correspondence, because that's a good time for me. After work, I'm with my family. I can't do anything then. I catch up before bed. So there's a bit of onus on me to maybe say, okay, you know what? I'm going to put on a work focus, do not disturb, maybe between these hours or from this hour till the morning time, to make sure I don't get those notifications. So then I don't feel pressured or expected to reply. Because you know how it is, even though if you're told you don't have to reply, I'm not expecting a reply. You see that red number, you hear that ping to say you've got an email or a new message, and our brain goes, oh, what's that? FOMO kicks in, right? What's that? I got to see it. What if someone sees it before me and they respond first and get to pick that thing that I really want to pick? And then we go and do it, and then we don't have that balance, but really we're not present in where we are right now. We're here at home, but here we're back at work, trying to figure out what's the best option, or what are we going to do, or how can we win that client, or whatever the case may be. So think of ways you can use the technology to your advantage. And just like we talk about setting up a workout routine or an evening routine, a morning routine, we need to put in a bit of leg work up front to benefit from it long term. So you're going to need to take some time, maybe tonight or tomorrow, to set up your do not disturbs. Think of who should bypass some of those when you're at work, when you're at home at night, when you're out for a jog, when you're exercising, when you're at the gym. Should someone be able to bypass your alerts? Maybe. Again, it depends on you and what you need. To me, as a fitness coach, I would say, in all cases, as much as you can, no bypassing the do not disturb, so you can focus on yourself and get your workout in and make the most of that time and be mentally there to get the mental and physical improvements and developments that we get from fitness and exercise. But maybe that's not realistic for you, and that's okay. But again, if we put a system in place, then we can try to control what we can control. And if we control our controllables, then we get the most results. We get the most out of this interaction. Because as I was reminded on the weekend, you're not always guaranteed another interaction, another meeting, another hangout, another dinner with a person. So be where your feet are at. Be present in the moment. We've talked here about being kind to people, being present, again, interacting with strangers, even people that are serving you at a restaurant or scanning your groceries at a checkout. Anything, people you're calling for customer service, even if you're frustrated with the company itself. Try to be where your feet are at, be present in the moment, be kind to that person, because that can make a big difference in not only your day, but maybe their day. Maybe the last 2 or 3 people they've interacted with have been absolute jerks. And maybe your few minutes of being present, being with them, looking them in the eye, smiling, please and thank you, being in the moment can make a big difference for them. We've talked before, for me, how when I go grocery shopping, I do my warm-up of untangling my headphones, but I like to wear my headphones, my earpods, when I grocery shop and listen to podcasts, typically maybe some music. But I'm usually grocery shopping by myself. I have an hour or so. I can listen to a podcast. I'm not typically talking to too many people. It gives me, again, 2 birds, 1 stone. I can multitask a little bit because the 2 tasks don't really require a ton of focus. I can read my list, I can grab my groceries and listen to what I'm doing. When I get to the checkout, I always do my best to at least take 1 ear out so they know that I'm listening to them. If I have my stuff tucked in my shirt so it won't fall on the ground, then I'll take both ears out, or I'll even tuck them into my collar like this. But I pause my podcast or music, and I always take at least 1 ear out so that they know they have my attention. And I find lately I even take both out just so they really know that I'm not listening to music or talking on the phone while I'm interacting with them. And if I am on the phone, I try my best to say, hold on a second, I'm at the checkout, give me a sec. And again, 1 ear out at least. Thank you very much. How much? Pay. Thank you. Have a great day. And then back to the phone call. So I'm where my feet are at in the podcast or during the call. And then when I get to the checkout, I'm where my feet are at in that moment. I pause the music. I take at least 1 earbud out, if not both. And I'm in that moment. Now I'm here with them. I'm where my feet are at. And then when the transaction is completed, I'm on my way back to the car. Bang, I'm back here. where I need to be. So I'm trying to make the most of the interaction and be what I feel is respectful to that person. I don't always know them. Again, I work in a grocery store, so some of the people I do know, but not always where I go shopping or buy things. I don't always know the person, but I want to be respectful and polite, courteous to them, and give them the respect and give them the moment and some kindness. Because again, that can make a big difference for them. So I'd love to hear from you as we kind of have a few minutes here to kind of wrap up. If you have any strategies or suggestions or ways that you practice your presence, how do you be where your feet are at? How do you make sure you're in the moment, whether it's on a forum like this? I know we have a few Twitch viewers here who are some stream fans and viewers. I know we have some different communities from fitness and wellness here. I'd love to hear your strategies. How are you in person, virtually, on the phone? How are you more present in what you're doing? Working on a project, you've got a report to work on. How are you more present? How are you where your feet are at in that moment? Family time, any of those examples. I'd love to hear from you how you are more present, or maybe this has maybe been a good reminder for you. What are you going to do in the next few days to be more present and be where your feet are at as you interact with those people around you? And again, I feel it's a good reminder and helpful to not only the people we interact with, but also ourselves, to help us unwind and decompress, even for a few moments. Those few moments of being able to maybe leave this report for a second to be here on maybe a FaceTime with a friend. It's going to let things decompress a little bit. It's going to let my mind and maybe my body. Hey, Lisa, welcome. Lisita, welcome in. Maybe my body and my mind unwind a little bit. And those breaks all add up. Just like we can do physical activity multiple times a day, and it adds up to a cumulative total at the end of the day. Those little breaks for us mentally and physically add up over the day as well. A 10-minute break where I'm focused and present with you here, maybe 10 minutes on a phone call later. Maybe being where my feet are at means I'm going to shut everything off and I'm going to throw these guys back in my ears and I'm going to meditate, or I'm going to listen to some music. I'm going to be present with myself for a few moments. I'm going to be literally where my feet are at and focus inward on a few moments. And that's going to shut off the outside world. And that's going to help me, again, decompress. All those little decompressions add up over the day to help you re-energize, help you recharge a little bit, to help you de-stress. So again, you finish the day with good energy, with good focus, with good presence. You can be more present if your energy is better, if your stress is less. Then it's a little easier to be present because you're not thinking about all those other things you have to do. And much like anything else we talk about here, being where your feet are at, being more present, it's a skill, it's a muscle. It's something we have to practice and learn and give ourselves patience to learn that skill and make it a habit. But again, the more we can create systems like we've talked about, hopefully you have systems in place now. If you've been with us for a while, we talk about creating a system for your fitness, for your nutrition, for your sleep patterns, whatever the case is, for your goal setting. Now, again, let's take that system and let's apply it to being more present, being where our feet are at. And then what can I do? How can I use this system? And I'm going to try a few things, and maybe some of those don't work. That's okay. Let's go back to the drawing board and let's try again. Let's tweak things. Maybe I need to use my do not disturb. Maybe my kind of leniencies on my focus were a little too lenient, and too many people had the ability to bypass that do not disturb. Maybe I need to be a little more stringent with that and tighten it up a little bit so I don't get disturbed when I'm trying to interact with someone. Or again, have some time to ourselves. Don't forget that being present with you is also very important. And the more we can practice being present with ourselves, that's going to help us be more present with those outside of ourselves, those that we interact with during the day. Because again, we build that skill. We always say, start from within, and then you can take better care of those around you. If you can work on your self-presence and your focus, we've talked about before, focusing on your work, that's being present, that's being in the moment, that's being where your feet are at. if you can focus on that and build that and practice and fine tune and really get that skill defined, then again, it's easier to take that outside of you and apply it to those around you and be where your feet are at. So I try to do this where I can. Again, it's a struggle. It's something I'm trying to learn. But as I mentioned, for those just tuning in, a friend of mine who I met through the Twitch community, I know there's a few of you here on various platforms watching, a fellow moderator from a chat, Jasper, passed away over the weekend. And unfortunately, I did get to meet him in person only once, unfortunately, but luckily I did and spent some time with him. And I'm so grateful that not only me, but everyone there at the table that night was very in the moment, and we were where our feet were at and had such a great time and have so many good memories of that evening that I'll take on forever. So what I'm going to try to do to honor Jasper is, again, continue to spread the positivity pandemic, because he was a very positive person, very upbeat and uplifting and kind to those around him. I'm also going to work very hard at trying to get as good as I can and refined as I can at being where my feet are at, because I'm so thankful I was that night. Otherwise, I would have missed out on a lot of quality time that unfortunately was limited to one great evening with a great group of people and a wonderful person who unfortunately is no longer with us. So that's my sort of way to carry on Jasper's legacy and name and energy. And I feel like he would appreciate that. And wherever he is right now, I know he's where his feet are at, and he's very present, and he's probably causing a little bit of trouble too, wherever he may be. So again, you never, nothing's guaranteed. So be where your feet are at, be more present for yourself, for those you're interacting with, whether they're colleagues or friends or family or strangers. Work on being more present. Get off the phone, put things away for just a moment, put those problems to the back just for a moment, just to give that person the respect and the presence that they deserve. You can make a big difference in their day, in your day, and you never know, it could be the one time you get to interact with them, and you want to make the most of that moment and spread that positivity pandemic as much as we can. So that's it for tonight, gang. Thanks so much for being here. Again, we'll miss you, Jasper, big time. All the best to your family, and we'll do our best to carry on your legacy of great energy and being where our feet are at. Have a great night, everyone. Stay safe. Remember, take great care of yourselves. There's still lots of things out there, lots of viruses and diseases and things going around. Keep that self-care high. And remember, always make yourself the priority that you deserve to be by striving to be operationally fit. Have a great night, gang. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.